I was 20 and all I knew was that I wanted to do good. I wanted to make a positive impact on the world and travel the world whilst doing so. But I knew no one that did something even remotely similar to that. So I had no choice but to carve my own path. In this video, I will tell you how I started, what I did, what happened across my journey, and where I am 2 years in. I hope you will enjoy watching this video, and I hope you take some learnings from my story. Well, to get started, I had to get started with what I know. And to be honest, I didn't know much. I was studying business in university, but to be honest, I was spending most of my time just partying and living the student life. But with that, I did know two small things. I knew that one, there were a lot of students like me who wanted a career with a positive impact, but had no idea where they wanted to start. And two, I knew that small nonprofits could use all the help they can get. Well, taking those two problems, I found one solution to solve both of them. Students helping small nonprofits on 3 to 6 month projects. This way, students can get some relevant experience and can find out if this is something they would want to do in their career, and nonprofits get the help that they so desperately needed. It went great. It really took off at the start. Once we were setting it up, within 2 months, we had 12 people and we were doing 3 projects for a nonprofit helping a hospital in Ghana in Africa. I was super surprised. Within 2 months, all of a sudden, I had to hire a full team, hire 12 people, and start 3 of these projects at the same time. It was quite overwhelming, but we made it work. I made my fair share of mistakes. I hired people I definitely should not have, and worse, I let them do bad work for way too long without getting involved. So therefore, some of the projects went a bit worse, but after all, we still finished all of the projects successfully. It took thousands of hours of work and a massive amount of iterations, but in the end, we finished the project successfully. This was a huge relief for me, to be honest. And once we finished these projects, 6 full months of full dedication helping this hospital in Africa, I really thought I knew something about developmental aid, about helping third world countries, right? But as this was all in COVID and all the work was online, I still had never visited one. I was just doing this from my Western bubble from the Netherlands in Europe, having not ever seen a developed country, right? An undeveloped country. Therefore, I thought it would be a good idea to go and visit. So I went with the nonprofit that I worked with for a 2-month trip to Africa to travel past 12 hospitals in the country to help them fix their water and electricity supply. I would finally see the projects that I did with my own eyes and see how it actually worked in real life. And to be honest, looking back at it, it was probably the most uncomfortable time of my life. I was eating the same dish 3 times a day, every day. I was really the outlier, the rich white man there, and I was seen as such, right? It made it a very uncomfortable experience, and I needed to adapt to it. Because we had work to do as well. I was traveling with an organization that was fixing the electricity and water supply of hospitals, which was super important work. We were on a tight schedule to make sure we can actually visit all these hospitals in time and not have one be left behind, right? So this took a lot of planning and a lot of effort to get right. And I have to say, at first, before coming to Ghana and whilst doing those projects online, I thought that the cultural differences were quite easy to manage. I thought you just needed to be open-minded and to be open to whatever they have to say and open to their views, and then everything will be all right. Well, In reality, it was not that easy. The cultural differences were causing constant conflicts and made it super hard to do the work. We had the tight schedules that we needed to be on, very Western way of looking at things, like this needs to be done then and then and then because we need to follow this schedule. And the Ghanaians, they had very different ways of going about this. This caused us and the organization I was with to constantly feel like the Ghanaians were unreliable and lazy, and for the Ghanaians to think that we were uptight and way too strict with time. To be fair, they were right. But still, this caused constant conflicts and made it super difficult. It was very hard to work together in a right way. And that is just one of the challenges that we dealt with. I could tell you 100 stories of all the challenges and difficulties, the uncomfortable experiences there. But overall, those 2 months, I've had some great experiences as well. From that discomfort, I learned incredibly much, and I've met some of the most inspiring people I've ever met. I fed chicken to crocodiles. I did some crazy stuff, which was super cool. But I'm not gonna get into all of those stories in this video. I'm gonna go back to my story. Because after Ghana, I realized one big thing. That I didn't want to work with nonprofits anymore. I realized it just wasn't for me. I realized I wanted to be in business. And I didn't just want to be in business because I had made absolutely €0 with 1 year of full-time work. That was a problem, but it was not the main reason. There are actually 2 main reasons why I wanted to be in business. The first one being was that the nonprofit world just creates this weird dynamic of one-sided giving. Then I mean specifically the developmental aid, right? It creates a weird dynamic when we're constantly giving, and they don't really have anything to give back. It creates this kind of dependency, and it's a science by itself on how to do developmental aid well, right? And this just wasn't my thing and wasn't that interesting to me. And secondly, after being in Ghana, I believed, from my limited things that I saw, I believed that the biggest thing that was going to drive the world forward is business and entrepreneurship. So, therefore, I wanted to be one. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But I still had that strong drive of wanting to do good and make a positive impact in the world. I had no idea what that even meant anymore, to be honest with you. I just found that just money as a motivator wasn't gonna cut it for me. It just didn't motivate me enough to just work for money. I wanted to work towards some bigger goal that was worth it to me and that's worth fighting for, right? A goal that actually makes a difference in the world. I found that I was not the only one that had these thoughts and had these interests. I found there's a bunch of people that are already doing this, calling themselves impact entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, or something along that route. What they do is they don't just have a business to solve their customers' problems, they have a business to solve the world's problems. This was extremely interesting to me. I was fascinated by all these stories and I knew this was exactly for me and these are the people that I should be working with. But I also knew I wanted to continue to travel the world, and I also knew that now I really needed to make some money, right? So, after taking these 3 things into account, made a list of all my options, what could I do here, and I decided to go into email marketing and to help impact entrepreneurs with email marketing. This way, I could make money, I could travel the world, and I could work with the impact entrepreneurs that I wanted to work with. It seemed like the perfect option. It seems like the ultimate path to fulfillment, right? Freedom, travel, working towards solving the world's biggest problems, and just having a good time along the way. It seemed fantastic, but in reality, it was not that much. I got bored pretty quickly. And actually, I was not fulfilled in my job. I found that I was not fulfilled because of these two main reasons. The first one being is that I was not making a massive impact towards the success of the organization. It didn't really matter to them who did the work that I was doing. It just was something that needed to be done, right? I was just a marketing freelancer. And the second point is that I was not intellectually challenged. I was just, like I said, an outside freelancer that they hired for some extra marketing support, and that was it. I was not positioned as the guy who was going to really drive their organization forward and actually make a massive positive influence on them. And that's what I wanted to change. I believe that that really was the main thing that I needed to get fulfillment in my work. I wanted to go from a model where I was seen as an external freelancer to a model where I was working one-on-one with the CEO on the biggest problems of the business to really help them achieve their goals and make this massive impact that they want to have. I wanted to be positioned entirely differently. And I realized that to do that, this was a big challenge, and I needed some guidance in doing so. Long story short, I ended up buying an online mentorship, an online course. Typically, one of those dudes you see online making these videos about their course, selling courses, right? Yeah, you probably know some of them. Well, I invested in one of those. I invested in a program that helps marketing freelancers to growth partners. And I didn't just invest a little bit. I invested all my savings, which were about 10,000 euros back then. This was huge for me. And this was 8 months ago now. To be honest with you, I've never made a better decision in my life. In these past 8 months, because of that guidance, I've made more progress than I could otherwise have in 3 years, right? Just because I have that right guidance of the people who are further ahead than me, who can show me the way. So, where am I right now? Right now, I am still a one-person company. I have one client that pays me around 3,000, 3,500 euros a month. And I'm working one-on-one with their CEO on their biggest problems of the business and the biggest growth drivers in the future. And it's not just any business. It is one of those businesses that makes a massive impact in climate change and reducing waste. So, in general, I'm very happy with my progress. This is fantastic and this is where I wanted to be. But I'm not done yet. I have a mission to continue spreading knowledge and helping impact entrepreneurs grow their business so that they can really have the impact that they want to have. And I want to, in the next 6 months, start building my team, hire the first people, and take on 3 new clients to build this business further. On this journey, I'm going to take you with me. I'm going to show you exactly what my learnings are and how this has gone for me. And I'm going to tell you everything I'm doing to get there. I'm going to continue documenting my journey of making money by doing good. If you go back on my channel, you will see that videos from a year ago where I started with this, absolutely having no clue what I'm doing. Now, I still don't really have a clue what I'm doing, but I'm closer, right? And I'm going to take you along this journey of learning and of helping impact entrepreneurs grow their business. So if you're interested in making money by doing good, and finding fulfillment in your work by actually having it make an impact, then maybe you can take something interesting from my journey. And I would suggest you follow along. Next week, you can expect the first video where I just make an overview of what I did this week exactly and what I learned from it and where that progress brought me. It will still be kind of rusty. I'm not perfect at making these videos, but I hope you can take something from it and I hope that you'll find it interesting. Let me know if you're watching and who you are. If you're watching, I'm very curious to hear and I would love to have you on this journey with me. If you want to be, then subscribe to this YouTube channel and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.